Hey Tubies, it's Psychic Bob here. I'm sitting here and I'm playing with my new little fish pendant. Check this out. This little fish, I don't know if you guys can see it. He's done in gold and he's got a little emerald eyes. Isn't that cool? And he wiggles. He's what they call reticulated. Reticulated in French. Isn't that cool? Anyways, I was excited, to find this. I love aquatic things. I love sea magic. And, whenever I go down to my mom's at the beach, I always wear, sea magic items. So, I got this last time I was down there. I just love it. Anyways, this kind of fish and ocean stuff fits in with our topic today. Psychic Bob has been doing a lot of research lately on aliens, and I tell you, I'm discovering more and more and more and more. It's amazing, really, what's going on the Earth. None of us are even half aware of it, I think. But anyways, I know we were going to talk more about the Council of Five today, but I have to tell you, I have been doing a lot of research the last few days on the Council of Five. And I'm really having trouble getting anything that gives me any explanation beyond the emerthers. And we did the emerther video last week. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to put the Council on Five on hold until I can get some more information. Right now, all I know are the five groups, which are the, let me see what they're, the Arella aliens, the Egorots, the Jinvos, the Radons, and the Emerthers, which we've talked about the Emerthers. But I'm not seeing anything. I can't find out what planets the other races are from. I can't find out any physical characteristics beyond the brief descriptions and their photos. And there's conflicting information about, when they're meeting or when they last met. So I want to wait till I get a little more solid information because, I think it's so important that we understand this, that we focus on what we do know. So we're going to come back to the Council of Five. But I got another race for you today, which I think is absolutely fascinating. This is the race, and it ties in with my pendant, the Alpha Centaurians. Now, I'm curious if any of you have heard about this. Alpha Centauri is a star in our galaxy. It's like the closest star, I think, to our planet. But Alpha Centauri has made contact with the Earth, I found out. Now, according to what I found out, they actually been here for thousands and thousands of years. But they're a little different than a lot of the other alien races because they actually have all of their bases underwater. And it's interesting, from what I've heard is that they came here thousands of years ago and they buried deep under the oceans and set up bases. Now, a lot of people have been having contact with them over the last few years, and a lot of people who are like merchant marines, Navy people, boating, fishermen, anybody who works in the sea, with the fishing industry or sea industries, a lot of people are citing, like they're literally saying they'll be on their ship and they'll see a UFO saucer rise up out of the water and take off into the sky. Likewise, I've also heard people say that they'll be on their ship and they'll likewise see a UFO fly down. They think it's going to crash and it just goes into the water as if it can control its entry into the water. So this is made for some interesting sightings, and in fact, it's caused the development of a new term. And the new term is USO. We talk about UFO, unidentified flying object. Well, the other term now that's come out of these water UFOs is called USO. And USO stands for unidentified submerged object. And so this is really interesting. Now, from what I'm hearing about the Alpha Centaurians is they look human, basically, for the most part. They look like they're connected to the Pleiadians. They're very tall, about 7 to 8 feet tall. So, they don't actually walk around amongst us much because their size is so immense that they're pretty much, give them away. So they tend to be a little more reclusive. However, from what I've heard is they are very, very psychic, and they're able to communicate with humans through mind-to-mind telepathy. Sometimes they will approach a human who's near the sea. From what I hear, they can literally come out of the ocean, like they'll literally just swim out of the ocean. They have the ability, from what I understand, to breathe underwater. It doesn't sound like they wear apparatus to breathe. There's some ability that they have to, it's like fish gills. I've heard some people literally say they look like they have gills kind of in their neck, but they look absolutely human. Now, there are kind of two different evolutionary paths of the Alpha Centaurians. One of them, they look literally like humans. They're very much like the Pleiadians. They have white skin, blondish hair, some have dark hair, but they literally look physically absolutely human, like you couldn't tell, except for their height, that there's something different. Another branch of the Alpha Centaurians have evolved over several thousand, maybe even millions of years, really, to be a little more, how shall I say it, fish-like. So their skin looks a little more fishy, and their gills are more prominent. Overall, they're still human, but their hands and their feet are webbed. So they have hands like ours, but when they open it, you can see webbing between their fingers. This helps them to swim. Like the other Alpha Centaurs, they can breathe underwater. Now, this class, if they were to emerge on the Earth, would clearly be seen as alien, because I've even heard some people that their skin is a greenish tint. It's not quite normal looking, like we would classify it. Yet, overall, their physical form is predominantly human. Again, their height is an issue. So we've got, both of them, and from what I've heard is they are absolutely not dangerous. In fact, when they approach humans, generally they approach people who are very, one, open-minded, and also very spiritual. Because they're very psychic, they pick up the energy around people, and they can tell who will receive them. And so they have appeared to various people and actually had conversations. They're very intelligent. They can speak, whatever language the person speaks in fluency. And it's interesting because they say that a lot of times the contact ends up being mind to mind. Like they'll approach somebody physically and actually be there, but then they start talking into their head. And then as you think back, you can have a telepathic conversation. I think it's very, very fascinating, As I said, some of them appear more fish-like. Like they still look very human, but as I talked about the hands and the feet, there is some speculation, and I think this has to be explored a little more further, that, you've heard of the ancient stories of mermaids and mermen, the mer people, the people of the sea. Well, some ufologists are speculating that the mer people may also be a branch of the Alpha Centaurians. Now that puts a whole new spin on it, doesn't it? Now, I've always believed in mermaids. I think there's far too much evidence historically. The ancient Greeks believed in them. It's said that the many in the ancient Atlanteans interacted with the mer people. The mer people are kind of interesting because I've heard mixed experiences with them. Some people say they're wonderful. Some people say they're dangerous. It's 50-50 on that. But what's so interesting is, I've always believed that the mer people are a class of the Fae. Now, this gets even more complex because if they're the class of the Fae, then could it be that the Fae who are also connected to aliens? This has me really thinking, and the reason I say this is many of you have been here a long time. You know that I descend from an Anglo-Irish background. I'm French on my father's side, and Anglo-Irish, British and Irish on my mother's side, and some Native American. But I have actually Rh negative, O positive blood. It's been said that many people connected to the Fae have this Rh negative, O positive blood. Very, very interesting, because if that's true, that the Fae are now connected to the aliens, that they actually come from out of the earth ultimately, then it means that there are humans, possibly even myself, who may be connected or have some strain of alien blood. Now this is really shocking. So I have to think about that. It's something to think about, because as I've been exploring the Alpha Centaurians, people are saying, well, the Mer people are connected to them. And I thought, oh my God, can you see the connection? If they're an alien species who come to Earth, and the Mers are kind of evolutionary byproducts of that connection, either with human people or with their own kind. And if the Fae are interconnected, actually, if the mermaids are Fae and the Fae are aliens, and they're humans that are believed to have Fae blood, like myself. Wow. Interesting, isn't it? I just found it fascinating that they're considered to be some of the more psychic of the aliens. And, here I am working as a psychic. And in my family, there are psychics as well, my birth family, which is a whole nother video, but we'll talk about that another time. But I want to bring this to you because I'm very curious if any of you have heard of the Alpha Centaurians. Have you ever seen a UFO over water? Tell me about that. I want to hear about that. Maybe you've been scuba diving in the Bahamas and saw an underground UFO, or a submerged alien ship or a base underwater. I'd love to hear about that. So many fascinating things, I tell you. We'll have to do another video about the pyramid off of the coast of Bermuda. I've talked about it before, but I think we're going to have to revisit that also in the coming weeks, because that's an area of high UFO activity. And so this emerging reality, it really points to the fact that the whole universe is really connected. The word uni means one. So the aliens, who we think are way out there, may actually be us. Maybe we're really all connected. Maybe we're all one. As many of you know, I am a targeted individual. I have been hounded and harassed by the United States government for several years now. And I'm not saying that for ratings. It's just a fact. You can research it. But there's an emerging discussion within the targeted individual community that they are targeting people with O blood types, which I am. It's believed that some TIs are saying that O blood type people are considered connected to the alien races. And this is why the targetings occurred. They know that we have abilities and connections that are threatening to them. I don't know. I don't know if I believe it, but I'm certainly curious about it. Well, I tell you one thing I do believe. I do believe we're being visited by aliens. I believe they've been here for a long time. And as I've said it, in the next 2 years, I think all of this is going to emerge. So hold on to your seats. It's going to get interesting. Anyways, guys, I just want to share these thoughts with you. It's just really deep stuff, So tell me in the box below, in the info, or in the question, the comments box, excuse me, I can't talk today. Have you heard about the Alpha Centaurians? Okay. I'd love to hear what you know about that. Have you heard of USOs? Let's have a discussion. Share your thoughts with me. By the way, just want to also say thank you to all of you who came up to yesterday's video. I was teaching a chant to Goddess Kali, Kali Ma, and I was wearing my beautiful triquetra, which actually I don't have here with me, but you can see in yesterday's video. And we talked about the mystery and the magic of the triquetra. And so today I'm meditating on things of the sea, alien and otherwise, and all things magical. Anyways, I'm so glad you're here. Listen, if you want to help me out, and I really need the help, like this video, favorite it, share it with your friends, hit subscribe, be part of our channel, We'd love you to be here. If you get a chance, pop over to my website. Check it out, and I'll put the link below. I have a bookstore there. You can pick up some books, some summer reading, and just go check it out. Enjoy it, okay? Make sure to be back here at Spirit Channel tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Saturday. You know what that means? We got our Saturday night seance coming. You don't want to miss that. Well, you guys are the best. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. I send you my blessings. And we'll be back here tomorrow for more fascinating stuff dealing with the spirit world. We'll see you then. May you have a blessed day. Until then, may you always blessed be.